Hello, peeps and creeps, and welcome to Fright Club. I'm Gab, he's Danny.
Hello.
We are the Fright Club and this is a brand new episode of Monday Night Frights.
Whoa.
On tonight's episode, we're talking about the Korean supernatural horror, A
Oh,
Tale of Two Sisters.
more like a trauma of two sisters, am I right?
You're right, totally. And we're back with another episode of Monday Night Frights. Tonight we're talking about the 2003 Korean psychological horror, A Tale of Two Sisters, Danny.
A
This
Tale
was
of
a
Two Sisters.
first time watch for you.
It was indeed, yes. This was a
We're
first for me. Again, the more and more the seasons go on, the more we realize I haven't watched a whole lot of stuff. And this was, yes, another first for me.
It was. To be fair,
Uh,
I've only watched it once myself, and it was well over 10 years ago. So, well, it was when it first came out. I watched it on DVD, and I remember really enjoying it, but I had forgotten some stuff about it, so it was kind of like a refresh
yeah.
when I was watching it for this
It's
episode.
mad to think it like this film is, just 20 years old
Hmm
this year, and like I feel in terms of like everything, its effects, the way it looks, the storytelling, like you wouldn't know it was a film from 20 years ago. Like
Not at all,
if
yeah.
someone gave this to me and went, this only came out last week, I'd be like, sure did. Like
hmm
it's beautiful to look at.
hmm
And yeah, the story is, it doesn't take place in any particular time, so it's timeless too,
hmm
so
Yeah, I mean it's got that sort of got a wee bit of green to it. Obviously, it's not. I mean,
yeah.
it's not super sharp images and stuff, but gorgeous to look at. Absolutely gorgeous to
Mhm.
look at. So we'll get into it in a bit. But yeah, it's 20 years. I really wanted to highlight that 20 years. This was released in the same year as Old Boy
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and Memories of Murder. So two other big Korean films that was out in the same year as this, and it's crazy to think. Obviously, Old Boy out of that bunch kind of was probably the most infamous
Mm-hmm.
um from that year, and it's getting a re-release actually
And remember to
coming up shortly. And yes, we
go back and
have we have
check out
talked
our
about it
video.
before.
Remember to go check out our old boy video.
Yeah,
Watch this first,
up there
and then go check out the old boy video somewhere around
somewhere.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Massive fans of Old Boy.
Oh yeah, we love it.
But yeah, we this is our fourth Korean movie that we've covered on the show
Mm-hmm.
so far now. So starting to have a real
Mm.
hankering
We
for Korean
we
movies.
have tried to include more of a like international film in each season, but we definitely have gone more Korean than any other
Yeah,
region.
there
But I
are
mean,
other countries, Danny.
do you blame us? Can you blame
No,
us? They've produced some absolute
fucking amazing.
phenomenal horror
Yes.
films. Like,
Yeah. Like
hmm
Jesus Christ, man. We've already talked about Old Boy. We've talked
we've
about
barely scratched the surface.
uh Train to Busan.
Oh,
And what was the other one we
fantastic.
talked about?
Thirst.
Thirst, of course. Fuck, and
Hmm.
hell,
Thirst. Yep.
amazing.
So good.
So we'll try to maybe broaden our
We'll,
horizons a little bit
we'll
more.
try and go for something else. We have done French. We have done
We've done
French.
French. We've done Mexican. We did
We've done
what
Mexican,
else?
yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Hmm.
Um, we've done a few
But
others. Yeah,
we've done
we've
a few
done a
others.
few
But
others.
yeah, we'll maybe try somewhere. I don't know. Maybe Greek next. Get a little Greek in.
Pick a country. We'll pick a film.
Pick it. Oh yes, in the comments below, let
Hmm
us know. Give us some international recommendations for us to delve into in our coming seasons.
Please
That'd be
do.
great.
So 20 years ago, this was released. It was written and directed by Jee-woon Kim. And before we go any further, I will put a disclaimer out there, as we always do. I apologize in advance if we bastardize any
We
Korean
are
names.
two basic white boys who haven't a
We'll do
clue.
your best. You
Well,
know, we're
Gav will do his best. I'm gonna say, see your woman,
your
see
woman
her
there with the white
there,
top, the wee sister, the older sister, the
and the
dad and the
stepma.
ma.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
Thankfully, it's quite a small cast, so I think we'll be
Yes,
okay.
we'll be all right.
But we probably will fuck up some names, and I really apologize in advance. We mean no offense by it. So Jee-woon Kim, who went on to direct I Saw the Devil and
Still what I need to see.
great movie, and Bittersweet Life, which is another great movie which I saw again back when it first came out, but I really want to rewatch it. It was fantastic. So he's a writer director, and fuck me, he's pretty good at his job. He knows how to tell a story,
Mhm.
and as we said briefly at the top of this episode, this is a gorgeous film to watch and to look at, and I'm really looking forward to getting into a deep dive about it.
Oh yeah, this film I didn't do any reading or anything about it before going into it. Most I knew about it was from Shudder's like top 100 scares. They showed the sink scene as
Yeah,
one of the top scares.
that's right.
So that, but again, I'd actually kind of forgotten about that until the scene started happening. Was like, I've seen this bit, but I didn't know anything
You
else
didn't know
about
the
the
context
film.
of the
Yeah, I didn't know the
story.
context. I didn't know anything. So like the ideas I had at the start of the film, nothing like what actually happened. Nothing at all like what actually happened.
So
But
there
we'll delve into
is,
that.
we'll not spoil it just yet. There
No.
is a massive twist in the film, as you know, expected. There's
Mhm.
actually a couple of different twists then happen after that big twist.
I definitely had a few moments where I
I
literally just
forgot.
sitting there. I was literally just like, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean the first twist that was revealed, I knew obviously,
Yeah,
and that
you
was the
can.
major twist. And then I was trying to figure out because I'd seen it before, but I was still trying to figure out, right, what is the exact way this is going? This is playing out now because I know this part, but this couldn't have happened if that part was real. So how's this going to play out? I sort of did guess it a little bit in the end of it. I will say it is quite a convoluted
Mhm.
premise. You really do have to watch it to stick with it,
Yep.
or you will miss some
It's a
details. And
real slow burn, like
yeah,
real slow. But when I mean, when shit hits the fan, shit hits the
mhm.
fan. But it just the shits takes its time getting
Takes
to
a
the
while
fan.
to hit the
Yeah.
fan. It does. So, um, just to sort of sum up the plot and the premise of the film, it's essentially like a ghost story, a Korean ghost story, about a girl who is released from a mental institution and reunited with her father and her sister, who she hasn't obviously seen for a little while. Um, the sisters are quite close, and immediately upon re-entering their childhood home, both sisters become aware that there's something sinister going on with the stepmom, who they're not close with. So that's the general gist of the story at the beginning. Obviously, you get a little bit more information as the film progresses. You start to ask questions about, oh, hang on, why did that happen? Where did this happen? What's the history of these girls? And what's the history of the stepmom? Where's the real mum? And information is revealed very, very slowly, as you mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, but one thing I will say about the film, I love the patience that it takes to watch the film. I love pacing of it, and I adore and have a lot of admiration for the restraint that the director has in this film because it could have been so easy to give us a lot more information early on
Yeah.
and to go big early on when he didn't. He restrained
Yeah.
himself, and
That's I
it
could
paid
have.
off. I think it paid off.
100%. That's the thing. Like the whole way through the film, the he winds that spring, that tension spring, as taut as it'll go before he releases, because there's so many opportunities throughout this for jump scares to happen, and we don't get them. Like even waiting for that there, and especially in this day and age when jump scares are the like, that's how you sell your cinema tickets, is with a fucking jump scare. This film doesn't really give us it until much later on in the film.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're right. Like it's one of those films that, like, I really, again, like you, I appreciated the pacing of it. I really love whenever it does start to reveal stuff to us. But again, even in the moments that it's revealing something to us, it leaves us wondering more, which it then answers later on. It's constant, like, little tiny nuggets of information without divulging all. But it's also one of those ones that afterwards I was like, pretty sure I've got that. I'm pretty sure I know what's just happened. But I'm gonna go look up and make sure I know what just happened. And I did, I got it. Like I did get
Yeah.
it. But I just had to be sure because I was like, that it all did slot together eventually.
Uh-huh.
But did I miss something? because it was so like the beats were very kind of spread apart. So I was like, I haven't missed anything, have I? I went and had a look after, and I was like, no, no, it's okay, it's okay. But yeah, no, I did, I really, like I said, going into it, it wasn't. I thought going into it because I'd seen the thumbnail on Amazon for it is the two sisters like on a sofa covered in blood with the parents' hands on the shoulders stand behind them, and I was like, right, this is going to be about two sisters reunited. There's like a codependency thing, and they're just going to go murdering folk. Like that's why I thought it was. I thought it was going to be like some sort of revenge plot, kill the stepmom, kill the dad, sort of thing. No, not really. Not
No,
really that. That's
no, it's not like
all.
that at all. But
No.
I'll admit I did the same as you. Now, as I said, I'd seen the film before anyway. Usually whenever I watch or rewatch films for the show, I'll take notes as I'm watching. This time I didn't take any notes. I was just watching the film, and
Hmm.
I didn't start writing any notes down until after the film because I kind of knew going into it. I knew it was like I know this is twisty and it's kind of a bit convoluted, and I know I need to give it my full attention before I can start writing anything down. Um, but as soon as the film was over, I did the exact same thing as you. I was like, right, I'm pretty sure I know what exactly what happened there, but I want to double check before I start taking notes. And I read it, and I was like, yes, okay, that all did happen, right?
Hmm.
So,
It's a bit of a
um,
fever dream, isn't it?
it is, yeah.
You're kind of just like that did just happen. Yeah, that happened. I said
There's nothing
something
wrong with
with it.
getting a bit of verification, Danny. That's all it
Yeah,
was.
that's it. We just need verification.
So, the budget for the film was about 3.5 million, to
Figures.
3.7 million. Yes, figures.
Talk figurey to me, Gav. Talk
It didn't
figure
do
me
very
good.
well. Figure me? Did you say? That could have got very dirty very
I
quickly there.
just, I figure, just give me the figures. Figure
Make
me.
it out
Yeah,
figure there, please.
give me a good old
So
figuring.
it only made about 1 million on the box office.
Hmm.
Um, but it was the first ever Korean film to open up in a US theater.
Oh,
And it is the most successful South Korean film of all time, worldwide budget, or it
mhm.
was on its release. I'm not, it may have been beaten now. I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
Um, Korean films, yeah, of course. Obviously, what was the one a couple of years ago that won the Oscar? Parasite.
Parasite. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's been beaten now, but at the time it was the most successful Korean film, and it also won Best Film at the Fantasporta Film Festival, which is out of Portugal.
Hmm.
So it's a quite a big European genre film festival. It was well received by critics, and for the most part, even though it didn't do very well at box office at the time, it was well received by people that watched the film. I'm assuming that it just didn't get the marketing that it deserved to
Yeah.
make its money back quickly, but it has, obviously I wouldn't say
It's
it's a cult film, but
yeah.
it was discovered through rental and releases and stuff like that. And like I don't know anybody that has seen this film that doesn't love it.
Yeah.
So,
Would you
you
say
know,
it's the one that kind of created the path for the likes of Old Boy and all following its steps? Like those, I know it was released the same year, but would
I
this
think
be the one that
around
kind of
I
broke
wouldn't
that
say that.
ground?
No, no, I wouldn't say that, but I would say that there was a movement in the early 2000s, I think. Um, there was a lot of good Korean films that were released that haven't didn't get discovered until years later.
Hmm.
Through Tartan, Asia Extreme, and stuff like that. When they finally got UK releases, I think this actually didn't get released in UK until 2005. Could
Hmm.
be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So, I'm assuming there was a lot of kind of younger directors, filmmakers around that time that kind of inspired by each other. You get that in cinema a lot of the time. You got it in the 70s in the US when in the early 70s when a lot of filmmakers they kind of knew each other. They were all part of a circle and they were all wanting to make the greatest films that they could make. And that was the boom of cinema in the US, and you get it in different countries throughout time. But I'm assuming that this was just at a time where all these directors just happened to hit sweet spot. I
Hmm.
mean, Old Boy is one of the greatest films to come out of
Yeah.
that part of the world ever.
Hmm.
This is close behind. I don't think it's quite on par with Old Boy, but
No.
it's in that genre and it's definitely in that league. So,
Hmm.
There's plenty more out there as well. Memoirs of Murder is there as well, and The Handmaiden and stuff like that. And there's Thirst. We talked about Thirst
Yep.
before. Fantastic. There's loads more out there. So loads that I haven't seen,
Mm.
but would encourage anybody that's watching this video now to go and discover Korean film
Oh yeah,
if you can.
100%.
So back to the movie. Here we go. I'm gonna try my best to announce the cast without butchering these names. So it stars Soo Young Lim, who stars as Sum Yi, who's the main character, one of the sisters. The other sister is played by Gwen Young Moon. She stars as Soo Yen, and the stepmother, the evil stepmother, is
Evil
played
stepmother.
by. Sorry,
Evil stepmother. Just evil stepmothers
evil
in general.
stepmother.
Evil stepmothers. Because you can't have a nice stepmother. No, just
Yeah,
evil.
of course she can't. No, no.
No.
She's called Yoon Ju, and she's played by Young An Yum. So the father, I didn't write the father's name down for some reason. I don't know why, but he doesn't have a massive part in it, even though he's on the poster and he is in the film. And I suppose,
He
I mean,
is.
his role is integral, but he doesn't have a
Yes.
lot of dialogue or a lot of scenes
No. But
in the
again,
movie.
I like that. I like that he is the quiet man up until the pivotal moment, and then
Yeah,
he's the one that brings us into the reality of what's going on. But yeah, it's really very much about the two daughters and the stepmother. It's kind of their story.
yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but I mean, the whole film in general has very little dialogue, and I
Hmm.
think that adds to the atmosphere of the film, and sort of just the kind of general moodiness of the film. Like,
Hmm.
I think the less dialogue, the better. I always like less dialogue in films anyway. I think
Yep.
it challenges the director to be more visual,
Hmm.
and it's a visual medium anyway, so it's better if you can do more visuals and tell a story through that rather than loads of dialogue. I
Hmm.
mean,
It's very.
obviously, if you're in a Quentin Tarantino movie or a Kevin
Oh.
Smith movie, that's different.
Hmm.
You know, different filmmakers have different vibes. So,
Yeah, this film's
um,
very sleepy. Did you find like there's a
yes,
lot of scenes where people are like laying down or in bed and sitting
I
on a bed, a lot of bed stuff, and I was
I
like,
even
this
think,
film's just kind of cozy,
yeah, I even think the way the film looked. I said that it was a bit grainy. I didn't mean that it was grainy. It's not grainy. It's kind of
soft.
there's a bit of a haze over it, isn't it? Like a
Hmm.
soft filter. I
Hmm.
don't know if that was applied in post production or if that was just
Vaseline on the
the way it looked.
lens.
Yeah, I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but there's like this sort of haze, almost like dreamlike,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Hmm.
which kind of I suppose plays into
Yeah, I love.
um the way the
Well,
film plays out as well a little bit.
even just you talking about like how it's dreamlike and ethereal and stuff. We love talking about opening credits, and this film, I love this film's opening credits. You've got that lovely floral wallpaper that you see,
Mm,
throughout the house. The set decoration in this film, the
stunning.
sets are lovely, lovely. This lovely old country manor house that they live in, and
It's very gothic. The house is
very
very
gothic.
gothic.
Yeah, it's a like gothic country manor house, and every room has like this different floral wallpaper, like every individual room, and there's lovely like floral dressed wardrobes and stuff. Wardrobe, very important.
Mm,
But you see there
closets.
bad evil closet wardrobes.
Yes.
But the opening, the credits just roll over a close up of this wallpaper, but as the credits like fade in and fade out, the flowers, the wee flowers, the wee like forget me not flowers start to like drift off away from the wallpaper
Hmm.
along with the credits, and I was just like, okay, this is setting another
Yes.
kind of image, sort of again started to kind of change how I was thinking about the film even from the get-go. I kind of thought it was going to be very much a like codependent
Straight
murdery
up horror film type.
psychological, yeah, straight up like just psychological thriller where it's about codependency and sisterhood and that kind of thing. And yes, there is that to it, but it doesn't play out that
So
way at all
I'm
eventually.
yeah, I'm kind of glad you mentioned that actually because as the credits fade out and the colors and the flowers, as you say, sort of fade away, the very first shot that we see, I'm pretty sure it's the first shot, is of a basin of water,
Mm-hmm.
a white basin of water, very clean, white on white, and a set of hands come in. It's the doctor's hands or the psychiatrist's hands, and he washes his hands in the water.
Giving it
Now,
stacks.
his hands aren't dirty, so obviously he's cleaning his hands from invisible germs, but it's done in quite a slow motion. And then he goes back to his desk to talk to one of the sisters. But I feel like that's the way the film starts is kind of a metaphor for the film itself because in a way the doctor is cleaning is trying to wash away an invisible germ and the whole point of the story is about the girl trying to forget about something that's invisible, really, without giving too many
Okay,
spoilers
okay,
away.
nice. I was wondering, I was like, how's
Uh,
he gonna get around this?
you know what I mean? So
Okay, yeah.
there's something invisible there that is still clinging, and they're trying to wash her memories away, basically, of what has happened. So it's kind of a metaphor for the film.
Hmm.
I didn't really, obviously, I didn't pick up on that straight away, but as the film started to come to an end, and I was thinking about different scenes, I just love that opening scene. I mean, it's very simplistic, but
Hmm.
and it's silent as well.
Yep.
So yeah,
So very
very.
quiet. The sound of the nurse walking her
Mm,
into the table and the fucking clippity clop of them shoes in that room. I was like, Jesus, I'm some wild loud cloppers, boy.
some guy there just with. It was weird because I love all that shit. I've spoken about Foley before and
Mm-hmm.
sound design and all that before. We all love it,
Oh yeah.
but I love stuff that's a wee bit over the top sometimes, and it's particularly people walking. It just
Mm-hmm.
gets me. I fucking love it, man. I love that over the top sound effects that's put
But
onto like a wooden floor, somebody walking across a wooden floor or something like that. So I'm just I don't know. I love it. Draws me in straight away.
yeah. I was getting whenever she sits down at the table, and the doctor's kind of saying, what do you remember about that night? And the
Mm,
camera cuts to her, and the hair is just hanging over the face. And it would have been interesting had they not shown Sumi arriving home, if they just kind of cut in and both the sisters were at home and it was implied one of them was away, but it's not explicitly said who, could it have been played out
didn't know.
that we wouldn't have known who it was? Because again, the hair is just hanging over the face, very, very The Ring, very Grudge looking. The hair just hanging over. Which again, there's a point later on in the film where there's a nightmare, and I got very ringy, grudgy vibes
Ringy,
from that.
ringy dingy dingy.
Ring, I'll ring a dingy doo da. Yeah, I was getting ring from that. The sinister female spirit hanging over the bed. What a
Yeah,
wild fucking scene that
yeah.
was too.
And there's a scene where she walks into the bedroom and and in the background is a static TV,
Mm-hmm.
and she sort of slowly turns around, and obviously they were sort of playing. I feel like that was deliberate. They're sort of playing on that, idea of like The Ring is probably the most famous um Asian horror of all time, I would say. But um, there's that static TV scene and the other scene where the girl crawls out of the closet. I don't mind giving it away because we've seen it. We're
We've
here to
seen
talk
it.
about the movie.
We're here to talk
So
about it,
she
yeah. And if
crawls
you
out
haven't
of
seen it, go watch
she
it.
crawls out of the closet and she kind of looks like um what's the girl called? Sadako
Mm-hmm.
from The Ring. Sort of same vibe.
Yeah,
Um and I like that they played into that
got
kind of
that. Yeah.
but other than that, like they don't there's not too many scares in the film. It's quite a terrifying movie, but there's not that many jump scares. And even the main jump scare, which we've already mentioned, the
Mm-hmm.
sink scene, you know what's going to happen. Like you literally
Yeah.
know, you're like, I know this is going to happen. I know exactly when it's going to happen. And now they hold it back a little bit, and then she goes back
Mm-hmm.
down. And when it happens, you know what's going to happen. And I still jumped. Like I've seen it.
Yeah.
I know it's going to happen, but I still jumped.
Because that's the bad thing. Is
Lovely, brilliant.
it's the we expect it so early on that whenever she first appears, whenever the stepmom like leans down to look under the sink and we see the green dress girl sitting in the chair, it's
Mm,
not a jump scare. It's just
no, no,
it's she's just there, and you're like, that's for me. That's even fucking spookier than the thing jumping out, because I was like, she's just sitting there. She's right behind you, and you don't fucking know, but I know, but you should know. And then you get the fucking from under the
I know,
sink.
I know. That whole
Man,
scene's
what
really cool.
wild scene is
And
so good.
I love it as well because I love the we've already spoke about the interior designs of the house. I love any film that's just set in a house, like a location. Even when we spoke about Thirst, I think we mentioned that as well when we talked about Thirst. But there was definite vibes. I don't know if you felt this, but Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, for
Oh,
me,
100%.
there
Yep.
was definite
Hmm.
vibes because obviously there was a lot of care and attention put into how he designed, or how he worked with his design team to, design the interiors of the hotel.
Hmm.
Pale colors. There was that pale yellow wallpaper, and then obviously the famous carpet, and then you have the bathroom, in 237, which is uh like a green, like a pastel green. It's quite discombobulating is the word. Could
Hmm.
get it out there. Ooh. So it reminded me, it was quite sicky feeling when you look at it.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So there was a lot of that in this as well because it was very lots of floral patterns, which you've already mentioned. And I loved that it was a tiled floor in the kitchen.
Tiled flooring and wooden flooring, all very hard floors.
Yes, it
So again, you
was.
get the sounds of anytime there's movement around the house, you're hearing it. You're getting the clippity
Mhm.
cloppity feet and all. Yeah, lots of
And
again,
even the bit
like you
when
say,
the
lovely sound design.
girls, the aunt is having the fit just before the scare that
Hmm.
kind of starts off that scene. She's her acting's great, man. She's like proper
Hmm.
going for it, and her feet are clanging together.
She's like possessed,
It's like she is possessed, and
Hmm.
they're trying to hold her down to get some tablets in, and then she throws up,
Hmm.
and
And it's fucking pea
her
green
hair
soup. It's fucking
sticks.
exorcist
Yeah,
pea
her
green
hair
soup.
sticks to it for like a brief second, and then she
Hmm.
pulls away, and but you get that kind of like real. It's quite close up, and you get that sort of just grimy, grungy feel to it, and it just felt all real and lived in, and I just loved it, man. I
Yeah,
love it.
so good.
So, uh, you can't beat an old gothic house, like.
You can't. I love even just the like whenever we first kind of get to the house, Sumi's been like left off from the asylum, and we're outside, and Soo Yun is like on the swing set, and they both go off together to like a dock. But I just love like the 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 location is so like yes, it's a Korean film, but this could be anywhere. Like this
Mm,
could be like somewhere in Ohio. This is somewhere in uh, this, the Serengeti. This is I don't know. It's a house just dumped in a location, and
it's a
it's
nondescript countryside
yeah,
is where the
yeah.
gothic house is.
Mhm.
And they don't explore the outside too much. They go
No,
to the lake.
they go down to a dock, but that's
Yeah,
that's kind of it,
and
And I
there's
love just before
oh,
because we're gonna go. We talked about how fucking lovely the opening credits were. Let's talk about the lovely closing credits with Sumi sitting at the end of the dock on
yes,
the left hand side of the screen,
the
and the
credits roll.
credits rolling up by her on the right hand side, and it's just oh. I
Mm,
loved it. Again, lovely opening and close, just lovely bookends to this whole
hmm
fucking film.
hmm So, the story is based on a popular Korean fairy tale, called Hyangwa Honggroon. That's not called that,
That's
but that's
you
how I'm
know
pronouncing it.
I liked it. I'm convinced. I don't know if anybody in the comments wants to say
I
they're
know.
not convinced they can, but I'm convinced. So
It was first. It's an old fairy tale. First adapted for the screen in 1924. It was a silent film, and it's been adapted about 5 or 6 times, I think, throughout the years. I do think that this is quite different to the original fairy tale, but they kind of take the basic premise of it and they swap it around a wee bit to make it a bit more modern.
mhm.
Um, we've already sort of spoken about how stylish the film is. It was shot by Mogai Lee, who
Mhm.
also shot some of the director's other films, like I Saw the Devil. And you do tend to get that with, stylish filmmakers. They do like to use the same
Stick
cinematographers.
with their gang, stick with their
Why
crew.
would you
Yeah,
change? Why would you
exactly.
change them?
If they know how you work and you know how they work and you have a good
Hmm
thing going, why change it? Yep.
Yeah. So we've mentioned that it's a ghost story, but you don't find out it's a ghost story until about just over halfway through, about a third of the way
Mhm.
through, whenever the first twist is revealed. And the twist is, Danny, that are you going to reveal it or am I going to reveal it?
Oh, I don't know.
One of the sisters is actually dead.
Yeah.
So, um, Soo-yeon is the one that
Mm,
is dead. So you see her in the beginning when she gets out of the car with her sister, Sung-yi, who's just been released from the mental institution. And it's the father that reveals this to Sung-yi, who seems to not realize, even when he's telling her, that that's the actual truth. So it is a wee bit sort of sixth sense,
yeah,
you know,
it's a
that,
bit
oh,
Sixth Sensey, but
she was dead this whole time.
mhm,
Um, so that's quite a big reveal.
mhm.
But what's
It's-
more interesting than that is obviously we're going to find out, hang on, if she was dead, then how? Because when we first saw The Sixth Sense, we all did that. We
mhm.
all went, hang on, he had a conversation with the mother. He
Yeah,
was
we've
speaking
been
to this
chatting the whole
person and
time.
that person. So you kind of think back, your mind goes back through the previous scenes, and you go, hang on, there was moments whenever Soo-yeon spoke to the stepmom.
Mhm.
There was moments where Soo-yeon spoke to the father. Oh, but there wasn't. So you find out then the other big reveal, which happens later on in the film. Do you want to reveal it?
Turns out that Sumi is not just Sumi. She's been disassociating and is also the stepma. Ba ba ba.
Oh, that's
Fuck
mad.
me when this
Yeah.
bit was revealed. Because it was whenever it's revealed that Soo Yeon was dead the whole time, I was like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
And then
But you
whenever
did
it's
that, didn't you? You went back and went,
yeah,
hang
I went
on,
back
how?
and was like, yeah, but so I was like, right, fair enough. The I was like, but she killed the birds. But did she kill the birds? Because we never actually saw her kill the birds. And then what about that bit when the stepmom tells her to follow her sisters and get away from the
Mhm.
dinner table? That did happen. And yeah, and there were so many
What
just wee
about the bit
bits.
when the stepmom fucking drags her out of the bed,
Yeah, whenever
puts her
that,
in the
yeah,
closet,
that whole thing was just like, wait a
and has a
second,
big
what the
conversation with her
fuck?
for fucking
Yeah,
10 minutes?
yeah, that bit, like, and the whole lead in. But then I was like, but was that just because the dad's saying that and her not being in the closet anymore? I was like, was that all just a figment of Sumi's imagination? Was that whole thing that we witnessed that is fucking?
But she wasn't
It's
there.
an intense. Well, that's the thing, but we don't know that we're not because Sumi's our narrator, so we're just getting her brain projections sent out to us.
Mm.
And I was like, because that's an intensity. That scene where the stepma drags Su Yen out of the bed and all, and is throwing her in the wardrobe and asking her to apologize. I was rattled, so rattled. And then Sumi brings the dad into the room, and it's like, why are you letting this happen? How can you let this happen? And he's just like, Su Yen's been dead. Su Yen's dead, and it's just like,
Mm.
oh, oh. Um, But yeah, the reveal then whenever we're getting the like real quick flashes of like the stepmom dragging the body bag through the hall and beating it with a golf club
Hmm.
and like and then for it and then they her and Sumi, the stepmom and Sumi are fighting in the like medicine room, the random like nurse room in the house. Standing over with the See No Evil statue and
Hmm.
then she just fucking disappears and the fucking thing's clattered and the dad finds her and it's just like it's time it's time for this to get sorted, nip this in the bud. Next thing the stepma's there again, but she's not there because well, she's there but she's wearing fucking a
Yeah,
professional outfit
she's
and
returned because
yeah,
it's revealed then later on through flashbacks that she was the nurse. She was the family nurse of the mother, the original mother
yep,
who was ill and who was on medication and who then it's assumed that she finds out about the affair because the father and the stepmom is having an affair at this point, and she has found out about this. She's on medication, so she ends up committing suicide and hanging herself inside the closet, which is
yep.
in the room of Su Yen. And Su Yen discovers the body, which would be horrendous.
Again, what a fucking harrowing scene that is because yeah, we get again all those flashbacks are revealed in like that kind of end sequence after all the main current shit has gone down. We suddenly get this kind of like lengthy flashback to finish the film off.
Yeah.
But that bit wherever their actual mother is comforting Suyen in her bedroom, and then Suyen, she must like fall asleep, but when it cuts back to Suyen finds her mum hanging in the wardrobe, and she's trying to like pull her out of the wardrobe, but because the mother's tied herself to like the rail,
Hmm.
when she pulls it, you see the fucking noose pulling
Hmm.
with her, and then the whole thing clatters down on her, and she's shouting for help, and she's scratching. You see her nails get all bloody, and the mother's nurse, stepmother, finds them and goes to get help. But because Sumi's rude to her, she holds back. She doesn't. She's like, "You'll regret this moment," and it's just like a fucking oh,
Mm.
what a fucking again, just this film goes from like 0 to 90 in that final third.
What usually happens with US films or other normal films is whenever there's a twist. So I'm going to go back to The Sixth Sense because this is just an easy thing to compare it to. Whenever we find out that Bruce Willis's character has been dead this whole time. Oh, spoiler. Uh, your mind, as I said, your mind goes back to try to figure out, hang on, he spoke to the mother, he spoke to this person, he spoke to this person. But he didn't actually. So, and he doesn't know he's dead, so he's also doing this. He's the character of Bruce Willis is going back, no, I'm not dead. What are you talking about? Blah blah blah. And we get this flashback that reveals everything, and that's it. But in this one, it doesn't happen like that because you get the reveal, and then you have about 10 minutes of like stuff happening, and then you have about another 10 or 15 minutes of another reveal, and then you get the flashback to tell you how that has happened. And then
Mm-hmm.
after the flashback, then you get a resolution, I suppose,
Yeah,
which in itself is quite confusing, and you
it's a
have
bit
to
head
kind of go,
fucky. Yeah.
hang on, how did that end? Is
Mm-hmm.
this actually how it ended? So there is a lot to take in that last sort of 20, 15, 20 minutes. But it is very rewarding whenever you get through it and
Mm-hmm.
then you think about it afterwards and you think, fuck me, that was amazing.
It's so good. It's so like even the way they kind of reveal about the stepmother being their mother's living nurse, was revealed quite early on through Sumi goes down to like a storehouse and brings up like a load of her mother's old belongings, and inside is like family photos, but she's flicking through the family photos, she starts to see pictures where the stepmother's in the background wearing
Hmm.
like a nurse's outfit, and she kind of starts to panic a bit at that. But then Su Yang comes in and asks, "Oh, can I keep this stuff?" And she says, "I can't remember what it is." She says, but it's like, "Oh, it's a spell to bring mum back. It's a spell that mother taught me to bring her back."
Hmm.
And again, even that, like that, kind of early on, sets an expectation that there might be some ghosty shit, but we don't know that she's in fact the one, that's the ghosty.
So
Ooh.
the resolution that I mentioned there is that
Mm,
this was all happening in Sumi's head and that she was kind of she's mental, she's a mental patient still, and she's still sick, as her dad explains,
mm,
and that she is kind of reliving her tragic past, the death of her mother and stuff like that, and the death of her sister. But she's also, as you said, uh, disassociated herself from reality, and she's taken over this other character's role
mm,
to try to explain what's happened or to try to sort of, get rid of some of her guilt potentially. But then you find out that the ghost of her sister is there, and that's where you see, that Sadako type character, as we mentioned, crawling out of the wardrobe, which is really creepy.
What fucking again? Yeah, what a moment, because they get everything that's sort
And
of
she kills
happened
the
prior to that.
stepmom.
Yeah, it's just it was such again a moment of like, oh shit, this is happening. This is the reality of it.
Yeah.
Um, or is it again? Is that just something? Is that us seeing what Sumi wishes would happen in her head? You know, is it real?
Well, I
Can we
think it
trust
is. No,
it?
I think it is, yeah.
Mm,
Um,
mm. Is it to be trusted?
Who
Is
knows?
Sumi
I mean,
a trustworthy narrator for the
narrator,
tale?
I suppose you could take it differently. There's different interpretations of that if you
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to go there. But I mean, the whole film is kind of it asks a lot of questions of the audience
Mm-hmm.
when we're watching it. It's very much about, obviously family trauma and death and tragedy and uh Sumi is feels guilty because her sister is dead, even though she doesn't realize it until she is given the revelation by her father later on in the film. And she feels guilty that she wasn't able to protect her.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's where the illness starts, and then that's where it originates from sort of her inability to protect her little sister and protect the sanctity of her family and in the wake of the affair. But there's a lot of repression there as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
as we know, repression, it's not a good thing.
It's
Boy,
not
it's
good
not a
at
good
all,
thing.
boys. Nope, nope, nope,
It's always
nope.
good to talk about it.
That's it.
Get together, have a chat, get it out your system, and then there'll be no ghosts. So there you go.
Oh.
Little bit of advice there for viewers that are watching.
Tuck,
Um,
tuck your stuff out, otherwise you'll end up with ghosties.
Mentioned about Stanley Kubrick's The Shining and how I feel like it is a hugely influential film anyway on anybody that loves film, cinema. Uh, Probably one of the most analyzed films of all time. Probably overanalyzed to
Mm.
death, but a lot of filmmakers look to The Shining and they want to try to replicate it.
Yeah.
So, you know, this we've already mentioned it. There's a lot of influence of Kubrick in this, but I would also say that this film also influenced a lot of people that came afterwards. Um, I think it had a big influence on Jordan Peele
Mm-hmm.
as well because before he was starting to shoot Us, he obviously had cast Lupita Nyong'o as the mother character and the doppelganger in Us. And by the way, we've already talked about Us as well, so I'll
We
put a
have
wee
indeed.
linky up
Check it
there
out.
or in the description below or somewhere. There'll be a link somewhere. If there's not, go back and watch
Check out.
us talk
Just
about
check it out.
Us.
Yeah.
So she plays two characters. She plays herself and she plays the doppelganger. But this was one of the films on his list. So he had made a list
Mm.
to give to Lupita Nyong'o, and I'm assuming some of the other cast to go and watch to try to get into the spirit of the character and I suppose to give them an idea what the vibe he was going for in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like top of the list. It was top
Mm.
two or three, I think.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. Um, and obviously this was a big influence on a lot of other filmmakers at the time because you can sort of see the influence, particularly in Asia. Um, Stunning film, gorgeous visuals, love the pacing, and I have to say about the music as well.
Oh, yeah.
The score was done by Byung-woo Lee,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of a mixture of sort of it's low key orchestral score.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a solemn orchestral score. It's piano led as well for certain parts in the score, certain cues. And I would say about the prologue, which is the start of the film, that prologue score really, really gave me Hard Shore vibes.
I was going to say I got from the score and even some of the scenes and stuff, Major Lynch vibes. I was getting pure
Yeah,
Twin Peaks. I was getting Twin Peaks from the
yeah.
music, and again, the scene that really gave me
Do,
Lynchism.
do you mean just from the music?
Not just the music, no, even just the way some of the scenes played out. The
Mm,
the scene before the the um the scene before the anti-text, the like seizure,
the
panic
fit.
attack, fit. The way that the stepmom actually Sue Me is getting on, and just the awkwardness that everyone around her is just real awkward, and
A
she's
sort of
just like
crazy,
having a
chaotic
like
laughter.
a historic, yeah, she's a bit hysterical in that moment. I was like, this is pure like Lynch, and I think even the music around that scene and stuff as well. I was like, I'm getting fucking Twin Peaks from
Mm.
this, like.
Yeah, I would, yeah, I would definitely say that too. Uh, Definitely a sort of. Lynchian vibe from it. There's a
Hmm.
scene as well where I don't know if I can't remember if this actually happened, but was there not part where the wallpaper completely changed color? Did you catch that? Where it went
No,
from blue to pink? I'm telling you, man, it ha fucking happened.
there is a lot of, I know, I remember there is a room. I think it's maybe there, the stepmom and dad's bedroom. There's like bright pink wallpaper.
Yeah, but I'm almost
But
certain that there's a moment where she's pacing back and forth a little bit, and the camera's sort of like it's not super close up, but it's like a medium close shot.
mhm.
And as she paces up and down, that's only a couple of steps either way. The wallpaper behind her changes from like a bluey color to a pinky color. And I remember thinking that was weird, but I didn't really think much of it at the time. I have to go and check that again
I was like, yeah,
because
I need to check that out
yeah,
because I can't think that. But again, it doesn't sound like something that wouldn't happen in that film, to
yeah.
be fair, you know. I just maybe
But I'm
again
trying
just
to
didn't
think
take
of
note.
what exactly was happening in the scene, the context of the scene, for me to think, obviously that's not stepmom, that's Sumi. So what happened? I'll
Mhm.
have to go back and check it. Um, but I'm pretty sure it definitely happened at some point. Now the only thing is I can't remember what part of the film it
What it
happened,
was.
so fuck.
Yeah.
Or I'll have to rewatch it. Oh
Oh
well.
no! Oh
Oh
no!
no, damn. But yeah, so I thought it was interesting just that sort of Jordan Peele had put it on a list for Lupita Nyong'o to sort of study the character and study the role. Um, because it's one of those films that it definitely has influenced Western cinema to the point where there was an actual remake of it in 2009. I haven't seen the remake. It's called The Uninvited. Don't know much about it. I don't think it did very well. Don't think it was well received. Have you seen it?
Is that Nicole Kidman?
No,
No. What's the one I'm thinking
that's
of?
the
No.
others.
I um no, I don't think I have
The
seen it
others is
then.
great, man.
The others is great.
It's
Maybe we
fucking
should talk
great.
about that sometime.
Yeah, we should.
Um, but yes, The Uninvited. Okay, I'll have to check out The Uninvited. I don't think I've
Yeah,
seen
it's
it.
there's an old film called The Uninvited. It's obviously not that. That was ages ago, but this one was released in 2009.
Why is there so many uninvited people around? Why have they not got invites? Why?
Ghosties, you know.
Don't spook me like that, Gav.
But yes, that's all the time we have today. Absolutely loved the film. Is there anything else
Hmm.
you want to talk about the film, Danny?
No, I highly recommend that if you have time in a day where you're doing absolutely nothing and you can dedicate your time to go and watch it, go watch it. Don't half-ass it though. Don't just be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna put this on and watch TikToks. You can't,
Nah,
because if you're not
Jesus.
paying full attention, you're it's not gonna make
You
any
shouldn't be
sense at
doing
all.
that.
And you'll
You
no,
shouldn't be
you
doing
shouldn't be
that when
doing
you're
that at
watching
all.
any film, but
No,
particularly
but particularly this
this
one,
film.
pay attention and you'll absolutely love it.
You
But you
will.
have to pay attention. Okay.
And if you
Okay.
don't love it,
Oh,
there's a wee
oh,
present for you.
just for you.
There's a wee present for you. Of
Just for you. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but you're
course you
wrong.
are.
Um,
Free world.
yeah.
We just don't want to hear your opinions. No, we do, of
We
course.
do in the comments
Look, I'm
below.
joking. Tell us if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Tell us why you don't
Or
like it.
recommend us something that you do like so
Yes,
that we
but
can judge you.
do it in a way that we can disagree with you and say that you're wrong. Yeah, something like that. But yes, very eager to watch other films by this filmmaker. And
100%.
man, Korean cinema, love it, man.
So good. Like there's not been one yet that I feel has missed a beat.
It just
Like,
hits differently.
yeah, every single, and again, some of them have absolutely boggled me. Again, whenever you put them all together, there's ones that I think are better than others, but there's never been any that I've been like, that's a real stinker. Like of all the ones I've watched
Mm,
so far, they've all been fucking high caliber content. Like
big
I
time,
think
big time.
we definitely need to do another from the Vengeance trilogy, though. I feel like even just talking about this and making reference to Old Boy again, I'm like, fuck, I love Old
Lady
Boy.
Vengeance.
Mm, maybe
Funny when I
next.
was watching this, I seen a wee thumbnail for Lady Vengeance, like
Mm,
had popped up, and I was like, Do you have a time? I don't have time. Damn it.
God damn it.
But
Well.
yeah,
Maybe that there one will come around soon enough.
maybe we need to screen it. Maybe we need to screen Old Boy. 20 years. If we find a spare date in our calendar.
Maybe get old boy
Potentially,
on,
potentially.
see
That
how
could be
that
one we
goes
could
down.
screen. That would be interesting. I think
If
that'd be
there's
cool.
anybody who comes to our screenings who happens to be watching this, let us know in the comments below. Would you come to a screening of Old Boy? Yes or no? The tense spring is coiled as tightly as it can
Hmm.
go, and then it's absolutely let sprung in some of the maddest twists you'll ever see.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
That's a great fucking way to end the video, Danny. So we will now say farewell, but before we do that, we will ask you to subscribe to the channel.
Of
As
course.
always, to support
Hmm.
us, that's the best way to support us.
Hmm.
Subscribe to our channel and spread the good word. Spread the gospel to all your horror pals.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Go and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. It's at the Fright Club NI. Please like our Facebook page. We're trying to grow our audience on Facebook as well. So
And we also put out about our events, which, by the way, last Friday or the Friday before, we had our
thank
Arnie double
you to everybody
bill. So
who
thank you
came
to
out
all
to our
those who
screening.
came out to
Yes.
our Arnie double bill screening. We really appreciated it. We had a lot of fun. I'm
Uh,
sure we will. We haven't recorded this
yes.
before it
Yes. We had a
actually
great night.
happens. We
Yes.
had a great night. But yes, so keep an eye on the Facebook for any upcoming screenings that we may have. And yeah, for all our posts and stuff across all our social medias, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this
Yes,
video
please.
and hit the bell icon.
Ding dong. Go and visit the website as well, www.thefrightclubni.com. But until 2 weeks, stay safe, take care, all the best.
Bye. Are you a ghost? Am I you? Are you me?
Are you me?
Sue me?
Sue? Are you me? Sue me?
Sue me?
Fucking sue me.
Don't sue me.